have some that are with garbanzo beans, chickpeas. They don't agree with me, but they agree with some people. So I make them with those instead of flour. And then maybe I'll add a little bit of cassava or the buckwheat flour. I have some blondies that I make with cassava flour. So a lot of times if you go through the freezer section where they have the Ezekiel bread, they have cassava flour tortillas. So I'll have those instead of buying flour tortillas. You can make your own. You can make your own tortillas.
What is cassava flour?
Cassava comes from the yucca root. And so when we went to a competition, actually it was the Olympia. When I competed at the Olympia, we went to one of the restaurants, wanted a burger, and they had yucca fries. I'm like, ooh. So I started buying them, and you just peel them because they have that waxy brown layer. And then I would chop them up and put them in the air fryer. Really great and healthy for you. So it's a different alternative. Let me see.
The Costco flour can replace the flour tortillas.
Yes.
So you can still have tacos, but now you're eating something healthy.
Now, I know for a lot of us, we're Hispanic, Latin, so what are we born? We were raised with flour tortillas or what during the holidays? Tamales. Tamales! Who doesn't love tamales? My mom, since we were children, she would make tamales every year. She still does, but you know what she did? She changed it from Crisco to extra virgin olive oil. So we have eaten them. I will eat them that way because they're healthier for you. You know, corn sometimes causes a little inflammation in the body, but if you're eating it sparingly, I've switched from popcorn to sorghum, and you can buy a bag of it at National Grocers already popped. It's just smaller. It's like little itty bitty because when you buy it, it's like the size of a BB gun. I mean, not the BB gun, the BB pellet. So, the BB pellet, they're like that little, so they pop really small, but they're healthier for you, the sorghum. So you can even bake with it. I think they make like a sorghum flour and you can make with that. So there's alternatives to white flour. Anybody? Andrew.
So I'm a trainer here at All New Fitness, and I've got some clients that eat maybe once or twice a day. What's your take on that, and how many times should they be eating today?
Well, it slows down their metabolism. Some people, as they get older, they don't have much of an appetite, and especially if they're not as active as the rest of us. So sometimes with just 4 meals, and they can have a protein shake in there, so that might be their 4th or their 5th. It just depends on everybody, because if you don't have an appetite, maybe you need to increase your activity level a little bit, or just if you just have 3 meals, that's fine for some people. They can get away with that. 1 meal, I think with that, you're going to store more body fat, and it's going to be a lot harder to lose that because your body thinks it's starving. And if they're not hungry, some people tell me, I'm not hungry. You start being a little more active, you might get hungrier. Yeah, and maybe they're eating the wrong thing. Maybe they're having too many heavy carbs. That could be. Yes, sir, Mr. Anderson.
Take me through like a typical day of what you do. Like, let's say yesterday. Like, what is it that you started doing?
What do I eat?
Yeah,
like my breakfast?
Yeah, like,
I usually have, I was having, because I gained a little too much weight that I wanted in the off season, because what I did is I went ahead and enjoyed what I wanted. After competing from 2013, every year I've done a show up until last year, November was my last show that I did for that year. So in November, I just enjoyed, what I did is I enjoyed a little bit too many of those chocolate muffins and that stuff. I ate predominantly too many raw natural nuts, and you want to have the raw natural nuts. If you look, even sunflower nuts there at HEB, they have added palm oils. Palm oil is not good for you. If you want to buy almond butter and that stuff, buy it just raw, or it just has that one ingredient, almonds or walnuts. That was one thing I forgot to share. What I've learned to do, if you go buy any of your nut butters, they're loaded with other ingredients. Cashews are not really a nut, and they're not as gut friendly. They're more moldy. So are peanuts, because of how they're grown and the moisture and everything. So what I've learned to do is, if you go to Natural Grocers in the refrigerator section, they have macadamia nuts, 10-ounce bag for $7.99. Sometimes I'll put it in a Ziploc bag and break it down, and then I put it in the coffee grinder and make it a paste. You don't need to add oil. Macadamia nut turns pretty runny, and so it fills up that jar, where if you buy it there, it's $18 for a jar. I just paid $8 and made my own jar. Sure, it's time consuming, but I'd rather save some money, especially right now in this economy. And so right now what I was having was like 3/4 cup of egg whites with half an avocado, and I'll put a handful of spinach. Right now, recently, I added maybe 1 whole egg yolk to half a cup of egg whites. Or maybe like this morning, I just had 2 whole eggs and half an avocado. Sometimes I may have a little, like today I added 1 slice of sourdough bread, and I just put a little bit of fig jam, hardly anything, just a little bit. I love fig jam, that's my favorite thing. If I want to have a little jam, that's what I did. And then later I may have, oh gosh, what do I have? Sometimes I'll just have a nice salad, and I like to add fresh beet. I'll grate fresh beet, fresh ginger. I'll add a kale, like a little kale mixture. I like to get it at Walmart, but I throw out the package. It's got a package of like croutons or cranberry and nuts, but they have the added oils and too much sugar. I throw that away. You know, I just put it in the trash, and it's got a salad dressing. I'll put my extra virgin olive oil pesto sauce. I use that sometimes before leg day. We want to have pizza. You can buy the crust, the cauliflower crust at H-E-B, Walmart, Natural Grocers, wherever you go, Sprouts, and it comes 2 in a box. I'll use my own fresh pesto sauce because I don't do well with tomato. Tomato has less lectins in the seeds and in the peel. So a lot of times when you eat tomatoes, it doesn't agree with you. The same with bell peppers. I didn't know that till recently. So the skin, what I do is I'll char it on an open flame, put it in a Ziploc bag, and it instantly starts to peel. It makes it easier to take off, and then I'll take off the seeds, and then what I'll do is I'll slice it and maybe saute them in whatever oil that's gut healthy, and then I'll use that on my pizza with a lot of spinach. I'll put fresh spinach, arugula, bell peppers, whatever meat you want, whether it's chicken or beef, and then I'll top it with some of that goat cheese, and then I'll put a little bit of that little fig jam for just a little sweetness. And we'll have that before leg day or back day in the evening before a workout. So my diet is mainly kind of ketosis, a little bit of higher fats throughout the day, and maybe my last 2 meals or my last meal will have a little bit of carbs. Yes, sir.
So Liz, you're in amazing shape and
Thank you.
top competitor. On the days that you don't really want to eat healthy, and you're prepping for the competition or a show or something, what makes you go back to that strict diet?
When I'm getting ready for a show, I can't deviate at all. I have to eat what I have to eat. If I want it bad enough, then I'll eat what I'm supposed to, but I don't cheat on my meal. And that's another thing. Up until recently, I had someone who was helping me with my diet, and it was like, have all the caffeine you want. Have all the sugar-free stuff that you want. So I suffered that consequence last year because I gained off-season weight all wonky. It was the funniest thing. I'm like, I was carrying it so differently because all of that sugar addiction to the sugar-free stuff caused me right after to just keep consuming all that sugar, and I couldn't say no. I finally got to that healthy point. So it is a huge disruptor, and I learned that the hard way. So that's why I try to share with people, because I've gone through that. And all the caffeine is so bad, so it dehydrates you. So you have to drink more water for that coffee. And people, it becomes a vicious cycle. You're so tired, you drink more coffee, more C4, more of those carbonated drinks, and that carbonation is not good for you. It strips your bones of calcium.
Tell us about the chemicals in the...
All the chemicals are the artificial. So what you have to do, like I don't take a pre-workout right now. No pre-workout. I have my 1 cup of coffee because your body eventually becomes accustomed. It's hard because you may be sluggish at first, but like anything, your body is made to adjust, and it can and it will. So it'll get stronger, but it takes time. So I told Phil, man, it's taken me a while, like 5 months to finally get to a point where he says, hey, you want some chocolate? And I was like, no. You know, and I look at something before, it was like, I gotta have it, oh my God. And so I ate too much of it. Sure, I paid the consequence, but now it's like, hey, I'm back to myself now. Mentally, you have to be prepared. But before that, I would have my coffee black every morning for a show. When I was training for a show, 20 weeks out, 16 weeks out, you change your diet, it was just black coffee, nothing in it. Yes, sir.
When you are training for a show, get close to the show, and at one time you feel weak, and and you ask your coach, can I have a little of this peanut butter? Tell them what your coach said.
My coach would say, do you want third or fourth place? You want to be last? No. And I would tease him. I would say that.
Say you go ahead and take it. Go ahead and eat it.
Go ahead and eat
You want
it.
third or fourth place.
No. But you know, consistency, because you know, when I met Phil in 2000, people would ask me, he was helping somebody, but they weren't listening to what he was advising them to do. What they would do is, all year long, when they weren't competing, they would boil everything. You can't do that. You can't be that extreme. They would boil everything, and everything was weighed and measured. And I'm like, not to that extent. You can kind of eyeball it and know. This is about, you know, fist size is what they say for protein. You can split your plate into 3 parts, and you fill one up with protein, one with carbs, and one with your protein, veggies, and carbs. And so you can do that if you can't gauge it. But they were too extreme. So what would happen is, because they were so extreme, they would go to the bins at Sprouts and binge on chocolate or something. Then they would feel so bad, they would go back to the gym and do excessive cardio or more weight training. So what happened is, that person started losing muscle mass, and they're getting ready for a show. And this is before I started competing. And they would ask me, when's your show? I'm like, I'm not competing. But because I was consistent in my eating, and we would enjoy, like on a Friday or Saturday night.
Tell them about when I was training you and
That's what I'm talking
the
about.
other girl, the competitor.
That's what I'm saying. And so they would ask me, and she was right next to me, and they wouldn't ask her if she was getting ready for a show, but they would ask me because I ate good all week. And then on a Friday or Saturday, we would go eat sushi, and then we would go watch a movie and have our popcorn with peanut M&Ms. That was our biggest treat. That was our cheat meal. And then we would train legs or back the next day. And so that's why I say all in moderation. You can have something that you like that may be a little dirty, but at least you ate good all week. So what happens, that one meal propels your metabolism. Then it thinks you're going to eat like that, it burns like crazy all week. So you can afford to have those little meals. But to sit there all day Saturday or Sunday and have all those meals, that's counterproductive. So, yes, sir.
Okay, I want to touch base on what you're doing. The day before leg day or the day before back day, her last meal, sometimes her last 2 meals, will be high in carbs.
Right.
And
That's our
old
pizza.
school, going back 30, 40 years ago, everybody, you can't have carbs before you go to sleep because it makes you fat.
Right.
Okay, but when you train first thing in the morning,
You
it takes so
utilize
many
it.
hours for those
Yeah.
carbs to be converted to energy.
Right.
When you wake up, you have a better workout. Now you have more energy.
Right.
So you have a great workout, working the big muscle group.
Yep.
And so then you respond, the body responds, and you get gains faster. It's totally opposite what the public thinks.
Right. But one of the things is, when I first started working out with Phil, and people would ask me if I was getting ready for a show. And he had competed for years, since 74 to 2000.
73.
73. And so I asked him, I said, do you think I could compete? He says, yes. And I said, how far? This is in 2000. I said, how far do you think I could go? He said, all the way to the Olympia. I get chills. Because I started competing in 2013. So my first goal, I tell people, don't think too far ahead. My first goal was to do a show and do well. You want to win a show, and you want to qualify for nationals. Okay, so we did that, qualified for nationals a couple times. Now you want to win nationals. I did. But it took from 2013, I had to switch. I did 2 national shows and got my pro card in 2015. Because I had to re-qualify for the different divisions. So from 2015, as soon as I got my pro card, a friend of ours in Florida said, there's a show here in 2 weeks. We're on it, we're gonna do it. Let's see where I land. Let's see where I stand against all the pros. I got 7th place. Damn, that's pretty good. I thought, okay, this is good, this is fun. So then we started picking out a show. But it wasn't until 2020 and 2021, my shows, I placed so well, they still had the point system. They just did away with it. Either you have to win a pro show, or if you place anywhere between 2nd and 5th, you earn points depending on the show. So at the end of the year, when the Olympia's coming up, the 3 top people with the highest scores in each division get an invite to the Olympia. Yes, ma'am. Oh, and so I had earned enough points because it went from the Olympia of the previous year in 2020, all the way to the Olympia of 2021. I did 2 shows in 2020 and got 2nd place. And then 2021, I got 4th place, 2nd place, 3rd place. So I was the number 1 with the highest points, so I got an invite and got to go. And I told my husband, some people say, well, I didn't win a show, I'm going on points, I'm not going. I said, I'm going. I may never have this chance. Life changes. The next year something can come up. I said, I'm not losing this opportunity, I'm going. And I did. And I got 12th, I was injured. I got an injury about a month before that. But they didn't stop me. I said, I'm doing what I can, I'm going. I said, this is my one chance to be able to stand on that stage that we strived, because I started training in 2000, and that was our goal. But you gotta build a foundation, and a lot of people think that, you know, in a couple of weeks, they don't make that progress, and so they quit. And that's the thing, is they don't see it, and they quit. But that's why I tell people, take the pictures, because I compare my pictures from, you can see it upstairs from the, I think that's from 2015. I still have some from my very first show here. I've got 2 side by side, and I saw them the other day over at Fun Fashions, because they have one, and I give them a few. And she's like, look at the difference. So I like to keep the pictures, so that's why we tell people, that's why your trainers tell you, take those pictures, because you don't see it. But when you compare those pictures to before and after, you're like, wow, I have come a long way. And you won't see that from a few weeks, that big, couple of months, but you gotta keep going. And that's what keeps me motivated, is because I know the potential. But you only reach it if you continue to do it.
Okay, I've got to say
Yes.
something about you.
Yes.
And this is for everybody. Liz's commitment to her sport, when she picks a show, actually, I pick her shows and then I tell her, hey, I just picked that show for you.
Yeah, once he publicizes it, I can't back out, so I gotta
I'll
do
put it
it.
up, I'll publicize it so she can't back out. But once she picks a show, no matter what happens, she gets a flu, car wreck, whatever happens, she commits to that show. The big poster right up there on the deal is at the Olympia in 2021. She got 12th in the world. A month before the show, she pulled a hamstring. My dog saw a squirrel, she took the dog for a walk,
I wasn't focused.
pulled it down, tore her hamstring. She couldn't train legs for a month before the show. Most people would say, I'm not going to Olympia. I'm not going to make a fool of myself. I got an injury. Liz, like, I just have to do the best I can. So there's a lot of times it shows where she didn't feel good. She had a bad cold. Different things happen. But she is committed. And for years, I worked 12 hours a day on a pipeline. After work, I have to drive as far as 50 miles to train her after work.
Pick me up, go to
Then I get to come home and eat dinner after that, get up at 4 in the morning and do it again. And people say, how did you do that? Well, I committed to her that I would train her. She committed to both of us that she's going to do the best she can going to the show. So it's a team effort. So when you have somebody in your corner, whether it's your husband, your mom, your dad, your brother, whoever it might be, you're not going to have a lot of people, you only have a few that love you. Whoever that is, that person in the corner, that's the only person you can share your goals. Because in today's society, if you tell somebody you're going to do something and it's not up to their approval, they're going to try to get you to drink a beer with them, eat a donut, eat bad food. They're going to put you down. So you can't share your personal goals with everybody. Just the few in your corner. That's going to make a difference if you succeed.
Now, another thing, you were asking me about my meals. A lot of us don't have time. We work full-time jobs, we have kids. I rely on MegaFit meals. I love them. For any of my shows, I have them ship me a box. I order Friday, they're there Wednesday. They're FedEx. They used to be zero shipping. Now it's a flat $9.99 just because of the economy, everything going up. But they come to you, they're frozen. They're in like a box. There's like an igloo inside. They have the dry ice. They deliver them. By the time I get home, they're there. I don't know if they start from like 16 to, I think it's like 36 or 38 meals. You can put them in your freezer, take them out, we need them. Sometimes I'll leave a few. I still order them. I use them all the time. They've got great, delicious meals, but the nice thing is they have all the calories, all your macros, your protein, your carbs, everything listed on there. I have to, when I develop a diet, I've got to count, I've got to look up everything I put into my food. Every single thing and count it. Here, it's done for you. There's no guesswork. I got to go, and every app gives you a different value. Everything gives you a different gram. And so this takes some guesswork. We even have pizza on there that's really delicious. They've got some quesadillas on there. Put those in the air fryer. Oh my gosh. So yes, ma'am.
What are some, like, if you were to go into someone's, like, an average household, what are, like, the top 5 things you would totally throw in the trash?
Oh my gosh, cereals. All the kids' cereals.
Tell them about the Ritz crackers and the fish.
Ritz crackers were just, Ritz crackers, Little Debbie rolls, Skittles, Triscuits, which we think are healthy. They're all banned in other countries except for ours.
The goldfish.
The goldfish.
They give it to
Goldfish, little goldfish that we feed the children because it's like a healthy
The
snack.
fruit
thing.
snacks, right?
Yeah, that and the Ritz crackers, and then there's like 3 beers. They have like weed killer, the Roundup in them. Some kind of
Roll-ups.
ingredient that's in that is, I think it's like Coors, Miller Lite, and Bud Light.
What?
Yes, there's all kinds of ingredients that you don't know. Now, one thing that I've kind of got a question on, I refuse to eat, and people tell me, oh, it's okay because it's just a process. We used to go shop at Sam's because you get your big quantity. I used to get a big bag of your ahi tuna. So I looked at the ingredients one day and it said ahi tuna and carbon monoxide. And I went, what? Carbon monoxide? Well, they use it to retain the color, the red. Now, if you look at it, I guess people stopped buying it or they caused a commotion. And it's not just at Sam's. Go to H-E-B, go to the freezer section, go to Walmart and look at your ahi tuna. It used to just be ahi tuna. Some of them still do. You will find one in one place. I have found one in Abilene. We have a United there, United Market. Now it says wood smoke, what is it? Like a wood smoked filter to retain the color. Google that phrase and it's carbon monoxide. Now they say, well, they just kind of vacuum seal it with that, but I don't know. Is it going to have a harmful effect somewhere down the line, like all the medications that they prescribe and they say, oh, it causes cancer? I'm not going to take my chance. I don't buy it. It's just like farmers. I don't buy it. I'll find one that doesn't have it. Yes, sir.
I'm a big fanatic of like green tea.
Green tea? It's good.
But I use like a natural cane sugar.
I know people.
And then I know there's controversy on that with regular purified white sugar.
Well, see, I don't even like purified white sugar. I don't even like table sugar. I don't buy it. I don't. I try to stick to my molasses and stevia.
So is that your recommendation?
That's
molasses, green tea?
Yep, you can put some honey. Honey's better for you. Honey, backstrap molasses, the stevia is what I go to. I try to buy sometimes a dropper because it's in a concentrate. So it's a little, some of them, they have a little bit of the maltodextrin in the stevia. I like to buy the one in the raw at Walmart. It tastes better than the one at H-E-B. You notice that?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And I think it's slightly, the ingredient might be a little different. But maltodextrin is just a thickening agent, but as long as it just has a little bit, because it's hard to get away from everything. Unless you live out in the middle of nowhere, you're making your own stuff, which is very hard. I mean, you're gonna have to take your chances with a little bit of something, but as long as you're just getting a little bit of something, you're trying to live as healthy as you can. You can't go too extreme either.
Stevia, all those other
Stevia, honey.
little packs of
Splenda.
Oh, we used to use Splenda, and then someone told me that's the worst. Splenda, Sweet Low, Equal, those are like the worst ones. You want to avoid those. They're all artificial sweeteners.
that it tastes gross.
Yeah.
Orange Ruffy tastes great. Is it
Orange
good for
Ruffy,
you?
no, it is
Tell them
not.
about it.
I made a mistake. I didn't know, and I was prepping for a show, and I was eating so much Orange Ruffy. It tastes so good. It's got that like a buttery flavor. It has a waxy ester. It builds up in your body. It causes so much GI dysfunction. It gives you diarrhea. It causes leaky guts. I didn't know that, and I had to learn the hard way. My stomach, as soon as I would eat it and I was training, I'm like, my stomach would get cramps, and I'm like, what is going on? And then a friend told me, she's like, no, Orange Ruffy's the worst. I'd never heard that. And I had never eaten Orange Ruffy, and then I had it one day, and I'm like, oh, it's low fat. I'm getting ready for a show at low fat, but actually the fats in the salmon, they help you burn fat. See, that's why avocados, all that, they help you burn fat. So you want to use that fat for energy. Like I said, some people don't do well on carbs. The purple sweet potatoes, have y'all seen them over at Sprouts or Natural Grocers?